It's actually the next Buffalo-Montreal meeting on the heels of last night,
yes.
And it's going to be reunion night here for the Black and Red crew from 2005, 2006. You can get your tickets now, sabres.com/tickets. What a night it will be as far as alumni returning and just appreciating how fun, exciting, and incredibly talented that group of Sabres was 20 years ago. So with all that being said, the most talented of the group, Jay McKee, has joined us here on Sabres Live. Hi, Jay. How are you?
How we doing, guys? I'm doing great. I don't know about most talented, but that team was certainly scary good.
I like that. Way to drop a big RJ line right off the bat. Now, Jay, a lot of people want to know, it's been 20 years, and obviously, we're not going to revisit the end of that season, but you were on the shelf with that staph infection. How many times do you shower a week now, trying to clean every little crevices to make sure you don't have that ever again?
There's everyone thinks it had something to do with dirty shin pads or dirty socks, but it was just a freak thing. I had gotten hit with a puck, opened up a cut. It could have happened in the shower. I don't know where it happened, but I certainly shower multiple times a day. And you know what? It's amazing. All these years later, thanks to social media, I hear about it still today, multiple times a year. Someone throws in a little chirp. I love it, but I'll never live it down.
Now, let's go back. Well, let's move forward to January the 15th when we're going to have this big reunion celebrating 20 years of that 05-06 season. I remember years ago we had a big alumni reunion. You commented in the group chat or text that it felt like a night where you're supposed to fly out from after a road game and you're being told that the plane has some technical issues and you're staying overnight. Do you feel like that January 15th will have that same feeling where, everybody will be in town and it could really be a late night for the group?
I've got a 3-3 to coach coming up, so it'll be an earlier night for me. But I think the boys, when you get everyone together like that, it's a lot of laughs, a lot of great memories. I mean, we're all so grateful for those days and the friendships we made, the experiences we had, and we had some great teams. So it's going to be great seeing all the guys and being there for the fans and the city. And unfortunately for myself, I'll probably have to dip out fairly early before the post-game festivities.
I kind of figured. We were talking about it off air.
You've grown up. You have grown up.
Your Brantford team is in first place right now, so there's a fair amount of responsibility on your plate. Oh.
Yeah. No, we have 3 games in 3 nights. They still do that in junior hockey a few times a year, so I'll have to get back and get my rest and have the boys ready to go.
So, Jay, we had a trivia question on the broadcast last night because the Sabres penalty kill has been so good this year, but it was, what year were the Sabres their highest in penalty kill? It was almost 90%, if you could believe it, and it was in 2000, 2001. You were a big part of that, But so let me ask you, when you coach now, what makes a really good penalty kill? Just because we've seen that kind of change over the years, and you were a part of that shot blocking mentality change that happened in the National Hockey League.
I think you'll appreciate my answer, Marty. Your goaltender has to be your best penalty killer. It's very important. Obviously, goalies have a big impact on it. Blocking shots, the penalty kill, really, you have to be prepared because every team is a little bit different. Even if they're in the same format on the ice, they have different strengths and weaknesses with their player personnel. But commitment to blocking shots, being prepared. And obviously good goaltending. You're out there against the opposition's 5 best players. You have to know what they're doing, what their trends are, and try and anticipate and prevent them.
Well, just so the record is clear, Dominik Hasek played 67 games that year and had 11 shutouts. Marty played 18 games. So and Peter Scusa famously played 27 seconds for Buffalo that year.
Yeah, no, it's good. Goaltending for me, it's the most important position in the game. Yeah.
Well, talking about goaltenders, one of your goaltender is a Sabres prospect, was drafted, Linders. So he came to camp. He went back to you guys. What's his outlook, and how's the start of the season for him been, so that the Sabres fan can kind of keep tabs on one of the goalie prospect?
Well, he's got us in first place and number one in the country right now, so he's doing a heck of a job. He's Ryan Miller-esque, in my opinion. He's always in position. He has the ability to make the highlight reel saves. But I think the thing that's most special about him is how hard he works off the ice, how prepared he gets, how detailed he is. He's really like a young pro in junior hockey. So we're fortunate to have a guy like him. We acquired him at the start of last season for a boatload of picks because we knew he was an exceptional goaltender, and he's a big part of the reason why we're in the spot we're in right now.
When you go back to 05-06 and you just talk about Ryerson Linders there and the character that he exhibits and the work ethic, like, who are the guys from that team that maybe, beyond the Millers of the world, that you really appreciated being a teammate of and ultimately a friend of?
The team was incredibly close. We did everything together. You look at that team, some of our younger players that were helping produce as well, Derek Roy, Jason Pombal. They were in the earlier stages of their career. So you had the Briere, Drury, Greer, the older guys that were well-established and fantastic leaders. And you combine them with some really young, high-end talent. I think Vanek was younger then too. So it was a really well-built team. And when we needed the younger guys to help produce, they had that ability too. So it was a pretty special team all around, well built.
Now, what do you think is the reason why you are coaching and you've had great success coaching with as an assistant with Erie and as a head coach now in the OHL, previously with Kitchener, now with the Bulldogs? You got Danny Briere, who's a GM, and Chris Drury's a GM and president, and Mike Greer, and Brian Campbell is in the game, Ryan Miller's in the game, Vanek's in the game. Like, there's so many guys from that roster, 05-06, that are involved in the game right now. Probably more than half the guys that were very involved. So what do you think that is the reason for that?
When I think back to that team, the guys loved the game. There was so much passion in that room for the game of hockey, and everyone has their different path when they exit the game. But I think the guys that you just mentioned, they all love the sport and have a kind of a burning passion for it. I think that's a part of why we had the success we had that year. Everyone was so dedicated to it and focused on it. And that may be, I know my reasons for staying in the game. I would assume that it's probably similar. The guys love it and don't want to be outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Any games that will forever stand out the most from that year for you?
I think just the playoffs in general. We as players, we had such belief in each other. We felt we were the best team in the league. Some OT goals, JP and Danny. I remember the goal that we scored going into games, after game 6 against Carolina. I remember, and obviously that's the night that my leg blew up on me, but I remember going home and just having this feeling inside that we were winning the whole thing, not just the next game, but we were winning the Stanley Cup that year. And just that belief that I had, I think filtered throughout the whole room. Every guy had that belief. It just felt like a special year. We were so close as a team, and but that's why the Stanley Cup is one of the hardest trophies in all of sports to win. There's so many variables, and health is usually the biggest one of them. And Timmy Connolly dropping out, and then 4D, it was too much for us to overcome. But I think that goal there is the feeling I had, the sound of the arena. Gives me chills right now.
Jay, I don't know if you remember the last game of the regular season. We played in Carolina. I ended up getting the start, and I took my pre-game nap that afternoon, and JP Dumont was my roommate, and I'm like, where's JP? He's not back in the room. And I'm like, I'm just going to go to bed. He walked in the room at like 4:30. We had like a 4:45 bus, and he was so angry because he had lost a big pot at poker. You guys all stayed in the meal room and played cards all afternoon. I was so mad because I'm like, I'm playing. We ended up winning 4-0. That's not the point. But we were on the plane flying back, and remember, we thought we were going to play the New York Rangers. We didn't think that we were going to play the Flyers because it was an afternoon in Carolina. We flew back, and you and I were talking about, oh, this is going to be so great. We're going to go to like museum in the city, like we're intellectuals. Like we're really not that intellectual.
We did do that a couple
about
times.
Going to exactly. We thought like we're going to go to museums, and then when we landed and we found out, oh, we're going to play the Flyers, I believe like there was a feeling of, oh no, they're big, they're strong. Like we kind of didn't want to play the Flyers, but it was probably the best thing because that series set up the tone for that season and the seasons after that.
Yeah, it was a fantastic series, and you know, when you go through those physical series, they prepare you for the next ones. You know, even as a coach now, you like to be challenged. You have to play your best. You have to be dialed in, and when you go through a physical series, you're just well prepared for the next one if you're fortunate to get through it. So that was a good start for us. I do remember that. I just want to say, when Marty and I went to museums, it wasn't art museums, it was science museums. Okay, let's just get that back straight.
Yes. Well, what was the science behind the legendary career of your teammate that year, Teppo Numminen? And how do you describe a player like that, especially the fact that, you know, you shared the blue line with him?
Yeah, Teppo, I mean, he was he had such great poise, leader, you know, more of a quieter leader, but he would just do things on the ice that others of us couldn't do while he was under pressure. He was a calming presence, veteran presence in the room, and I mean, just a fantastic all-around guy. So it was a great pleasure and privilege to have shared the blue line with him at times.
Now, who had the hardest shot, you or Teppo? Because Teppo's shot would barely clock over 70 miles an hour, I believe.
I probably wasn't much over that, Marty, but I think I might have hit 82 or something like that. You would know best, I think, right? But you know, as a player, it's funny. Guys would in warm-ups would try and go bar down during a pregame skate, and I just wanted to always hit our goalies in the pads to make them feel good and confident. So you may think my shot wasn't that good, Marty, because it always hit you, but that was on purpose.
Well, funny enough, you mentioned your shot was, you know, you had the best flipper, right, off the glass and out. That was great. And Teppo's shot was not hard, but he's the one that took a shot on Ryan Miller on a morning skate that broke Miller's hand and he required surgery. So it's not how hard you shoot, Jay. It's sometimes how you find the right spots. And how many goals did you have in your career? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Ballpark of 20. I don't know the exact number. Yeah, but you know what? I felt, you know, being a defensive defenseman, you could spend a lot of years in the National Hockey League just playing that way and not worrying about offense. And I came out of junior thinking I was going to be an offensive defenseman, but I learned quickly that there's always going to be more offensive guys in the NHL than myself, and I honed into the defensive side of things. So I didn't care. You know, my best season, I think I had no goals and 5 assists, but I was really proud of that year. And then other years I had 5 goals and maybe 17, 18 points. And it just didn't matter to me, that part of the game, right? I'd rather break up a 2-on-1 than score a goal.
Well, 21 was your career total, so you were right
close.
in that wheelhouse. And we love looking back at just what you looked like when you were coming out of the Canadian Hockey League and into the NHL. And what is the one word you would use to describe this incredible-looking guy as he embarked on his NHL career?
Try to see it on the screen here, Jay. This is your draft card.
This is from Canadian Hockey Magazine.
You guys didn't prep me on this. I might not have come on if I knew this was coming. No, that's so yeah. We all did in the playoffs in Niagara Falls. We all did the frosted tips for playoffs. So that's the old frosted tip look.
This is actually when you and I met, right, Jay? Because that's the 1995 draft in Edmonton. Mm-hmm. Duffer, you were there. Yep. You were covering the draft.
My very
first draft. And then I remember, Jay, we had training camp in August, September of 1995. And, you and I went back to your old stomping grounds in Niagara Falls, played a little laser tag. Do you recall, your character's name or whatever, like the name, your username, and how good you were at laser tag in Niagara Falls?
I was very dedicated to it, Marty. I used to go all the time with my free time. The last name, or the name, Miro Shatan. Just dropped the Miro. That was my laser tag name, and I'd walk in and everyone would be like, "Oh no, Satan's here."
Yeah. I remember we took you had a pickup truck and we went over to Niagara Falls and you took me to play laser tag, and when you walked in, people were like, "Oh no!" Like it's like James Bond had walked in. That was incredible.
Yeah, no, I was very dedicated to it. That's for sure. It's just one of those junior things when you're 17, 18 years old.
Did you ever imagine then or early on in your career that you would be leading this same age group of players? Later in my career, I remember when I was in St. Louis, I talked to Brad Shaw and Rick Walmsley just, about how they got into coaching and why. And I started thinking about it then. Again, it goes back to just loving the game. When you retire, you try and find responsibility in your life and things to do. And I didn't want to leave the game. I got into coaching, kind of trying it out. Like when you first retire and coach, there's a lot to learn. And I wanted to see if it was for me. I've grown no differently than as a player. I've just grown a passion for this side of the game. And, when you work with great people, there isn't a day that feels like work, but you're always challenged. You're rewarded with similar feelings, similar emotions through the ups and downs of success or lack thereof. And I just really enjoy being a part of the game, love the game of hockey, and to, work with the younger players, develop them, see them move on and have success it's pretty rewarding.
So do you take credit for how Connor McDavid turned out because you really worked on his skills for that, that big season, his draft year in Erie? Is that all of your teaching?
Well, so in my coaching resume, if I give it out, I just have one reference, and it's Connor McDavid with his phone number. That's it. I have no other references. Coaching Connor in his draft year in the OHL, I just got caught in practice watching him. You actually lose track of practice. He was a special player then. He's a special player now, and it was certainly a privilege to be a small part of his development, although most of that was just watching him. He was very gifted, and it was a fun time back then.
Reunion night is January 15th in Buffalo. Jay McKee is going to be a part of it. Jay, before you go, who are you really hoping to see that night?
Oh, everybody. I mean, we were all, like I said, so tight. Any of the guys that are able to make it, it's going to be, I'll be grateful to see them again, spend some time, share some laughs, and see how things are going in their life. Because the game does take people different ways, and you lose touch with some guys. So be great for the fans. Be good to get back there and see all these guys. There's not, other than Marty, there's not one specific guy.
Will you go to Chef's before the game that day?
For pregame meal, absolutely.
The guy would go to Chef's 200 times a year. Like, that's literally like he was there all the time.
Look at him now. He's amazing. Continued success with your team in Brantford.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.